All right, guys. Today we're going to talk about a great mobilization for your joint capsule in your hip, and this is a great one because a lot of the times when we sit down, we're actually not sitting on our sitting bone, right? We're not sitting on our ischial We're actually sitting on our hamstrings. We're sitting on our femur here, and when that happens, instead of sitting on the pelvis where our sitting bones are, if we sit on the hamstrings and the femur, think of this is my femur, this is the head of my femur, all this force, because we're sitting down on it, is now we're getting pushed into the chair, and the chair is pushing back up on us. So what's happening is the head of this femur here is getting jammed up into the socket of the acetabulum, right? Into the hip socket. So what ends up happening is, because this gets jammed up so often and because we sit down so much, it starts to tighten up and it can't really go anywhere. It just gets locked in that position. So when we try and flex our hip up, when we're running, right, when we're squatting and doing these other activities, the hip doesn't want to come up, right? It has to roll up and glide down. It's not going to want to glide down because it's stuck in this superior and in this upwardly migrated position. So what we need to do is we actually need to do the opposite and actually shear it down the other way. Some of these band mobilizations just won't be able to do that. So we actually need to put some pressure from the knee through the femur and actually shear it down a little bit. Sounds intense, but it's actually very easy to do. You don't even need a band. You can add it to improve it, but I'm going to show you how to do it without anything at all. All you need is you need the ground and maybe a pillow for your knee. So let's jump right into it, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to start on our knees, coming on our hands here, and the goal is I'm just going to take one leg out of the equation. So if I'm going to do my right leg here, take my left leg out, and I'm just using it for balance, right? My toe back here, I'm just using it for balance. There's no weight bearing at all going on. All the weight bearing is going on, bam, right on my right knee here. And the goal is put as much weight through that knee as you can without dropping your hip. So your glute's actually going to be engaged, but you're going to feel like, holy cow, there's a really good stretch going on in my glute here. So we're going to be here, and we're going to rock back and forth once I get this good amount of force here. So again, all that force you want directed through the knee as we are rocking back and forth. So again, we're here. All my weight is through this knee, and I am rocking back and forth. I'll show you on the left side here. Again, not putting much weight through my right side. All the weight's on my knee. Don't drop the hip. We are coming down. Weight bearing through. You should feel a lot of force in this hip here. That's exactly what we want. Again, we are shearing it. We're shearing it the other way now, not going up. So we're here, and we're gonna hit all these corners and shearing it this way, and then shearing it a little more, kind of more backward, a little more down and backwards as we come back this way. So for this one, guys, do it for a minute to 2 minutes, and then we can progress this. This is a great one that we can progress. So now, in that same position, if I'm mobilizing my left side, like I said, hey, let me kick my foot out. You can kick it either way. I always like going out this way first. So kick your foot out to the side, and then again, weight through the knee. I already feel it in my hip here. I went on a big run this morning, and like, oh yeah, that's the spot. Again, my foot back here, my big toe, only my big toes on the ground, is just for balance. And I'm really putting all that weight through that knee. Try not to put as much weight through the back of your foot here. Really getting a good mobilization of the hip. And holy cow, I gotta put my foot back out. There we go. Like, oh my gosh, that's intense. Another one you can do, one of my favorites, mimics the pigeon stretch a little bit. We can be here, lock it in with the other knee, and then put that force through the hip. So again, instead of kicking it out this way, I'm kicking this way, locking in with the other knee, right? My right knee comes in, still stabilizing, balancing myself with the right side, and we are putting all the weight through my left knee. Again, pushing back. Now I get a lot more glute max and some rotator cuff of the hip activation here, or hip stretch here. Oh my gosh, that's intense. Again, thinking about all the way through that knee, shearing all the way backwards, loosening up that capsule. So these are great ones that you can do to help release some of that tightness just from a lot of sitting that we've been doing. So this has a lot of implications if you have hamstring issues. If your hamstrings are tight, or you just feel like I stretch all the time and I can't loosen up my hamstrings, this mobilization will probably help. A lot of the times the capsule is so robust and so strong, that tightness you feel in your hamstrings is actually because of the joint capsule being stuck up. It actually lengthens the hamstrings a little bit. And yes, you can stretch out your hamstrings and it might feel better short term, but to actually solve this problem, we need to put that head of the femur in a better position in the socket. And that way, your hamstrings will be put in a better and a more optimal position, and some of that tightness you're feeling should go away.